George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in a scrape, he makes his escape with the help of his friend, an 888. Then away he'll schlep on his elephant ship, while Fella and Ursula stay in step. Well, George of the jungle, friend to you and me. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle, friend to you and me. George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in the scrape, he makes his escape with the help of his friend, an 888. Then away he'll schlep on his elephant ship, while Fella and Ursula stay in step. Well, George of the jungle, friend to you and me. Watch out for that tree.
Well, it was a sorry day when Princess Elsa of Elsweria appeared at a grand ball wearing a tiara of bird feathers.
She's beautiful.
You kidding, Fritz? She's got a face only a mother could love. And heaven knows I find it difficult.
However, the bird feathers had a very strange effect. For to all the males present, Princess Elsa suddenly appeared to look like a movie star.
It's Liz.
It's Debbie. It's Zsa.
It's Lassie.
Yes, this was indeed a sorry day.
You kidding? I should always be so sad.
But of course, every other woman at the ball was soon demanding a tiara of bird feathers.
I must have one, Fritz, or I'll die.
Is that a promise?
But feathers make me gorgeous. Look.
Ooh, you're regular Ingrid Fingerman. Buy it. Buy it.
Yes, the demand was so great that the price of bird feathers skyrocketed. And so, far away in Africa, there was a stampede of hunters to the nesting grounds of the bird. In spite of no poaching signs, these savage Nimrods netted the dull-witted birds and mercilessly tweaked out their tail feathers one by one.
Ooh! Ooh, ooh!
Which, of course, explains how the bird got its name.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Not only was it painful, but without their tail feathers, the birds found it difficult to fly. Well, it didn't take long for the news to get to that protector of the innocent, defender of the weak, and all-around good guy, George of the jungle.
What do the drums say, George?
Drums say boom, 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 boom.
But what do they mean?
Ursula, wait. George, go look it up.
In the dictionary?
No, in Drumptionary.
George, you keep forgetting we live in a tree.
At that moment, an exhausted bird staggered into the clearing.
George! The hunters are attacking us oohs.
George, you must stop them.
You bet, fella.
Fella?
George is a very simple man.
Nearsighted, too.
Think, George, you must think.
If Ursula insists, George, think.
Well, of course, that was a long, slow process.
Cry-yi. He's been sitting there for 3 days. You sure he's not dead?
Oh, no, he's thinking all right.
How could you tell?
Do you notice an odd kind of smell?
Yeah, like a smoldering bicycle tire.
But just then...
Topeka!
Eureka, dear.
By George, he's got it.
My George, he's got it.
George set wily jungle trap for cruel hunters.
Good idea. But what will you use for bait?
George of jungle.
And the brawny ape-man set off through the jungle, swinging lightly from tree to tree to tree. A short time later, in the camp of the bird hunters... Let's knock off for lunch, Tiger. Hi be too pooped terpluck.
Now, we can't stop, Weevil. We must make our haul before George of the jungle finds out we're here.
Too late, for the canny jungle king was peering at them at that very moment.
Now George set wily jungle trap.
Swiftly, the brawny ape-man bent a tree back and fastened it with a hair trigger. Then he dug a large pit in the middle of the path and lined the bottom with pointed stakes. Finally, he wove a huge net of jungle creeps.
Creepers.
Creepers, and hung it from a tree.
Now, George, ready for big scene.
Shh, Tiger. I be thinking I hear someat in yon bushes.
And probably a spangled fritillary calling to its mate.
No, looky there.
Oh, 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 oh.
Oh, Tiger, that be the biggest bird in the world.
And the ugliest.
After him, them tail feathers be worth a fortune. The two sneaks dashed after their prey, and George, hopping ahead, led them up the garden path toward his wily jungle trap. Unfortunately, he'd forgotten by this time exactly where it was.
George not forget. Trap right around here, somewhere. Oh! See? George not forget.
Cracky Weevil, that's not an bird. It's what's-his-name of the jungle.
Time for us to make ourselves scarce, Tiger.
Righty-o.
Hey, you not leave George up here to starve to death.
Why not?
That pretty chicken thing to do to King of Jungle.
He's right, Weevil. Are we going to be chicken to the king of the jungle?
Sure. If there be one thing I like, it be chicken a la king. Ha ha ha! But as the two heartless bird snatchers chortled meanly, the net of jungle creepers broke open at the bottom and...
They not make jungle creepers like they used to.
Well, George had the two villains trussed in a trice, and they were soon headed for the poacher Pokey.
But what will become of all those bird feathers?
Don't worry, I sold them.
For money?
No, for sneakers.
Sneakers?
If we can't fly, we gotta walk.
Ha 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 ha!
What's so funny, George?
Ho 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 ho! Chicken a la king! Ha 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 ha!
Tom Slick, Tom Slick. Let me tell you why he's the best of all good guys. Tom Slick, Tom Slick. In the thunderbolt we slapper once he's on your tail. He won't quit because you know there's no such word as fail to Tom Slick, Tom Slick.
Believe it or not, this rich, dissipated ne'er-do-well is the world's champion submarine racer, Anthony J. Lucky Poole.
Hello, peasants.
Lucky got his nickname because in every race, something awful seems to happen to his opponents, but never to him. In 1962, the Australian submarine Fair Dinkum struck a submerged locomotive. The Japanese contender, the Furiaka Saki, took a wrong turn, dived straight down, and surfaced a month later in the Bay of Bengal. Last year, the Canadian craft Royal Mountie blew up at the starting line. Today, Anthony J. Poole reigns unchallenged in submarine racing.
Call me Lucky.
But wait, what strange craft is that being lowered into the water? It's the converted Thunderbolt Grease Slapper. And here is its dauntless driver, Tom Slick.
Hey!
Lucky Poole, I challenge you to a race from Hudson Rock to Point Thataway.
What's the point?
I just told you, Point Thataway.
All right, I will.
It's bad form to laugh at a competitor, Lucky Poole.
Well, let's get started then. I got an early date.
In Gertie Growler's garage,
Oh, Gertie, I'm worried. I hope Tom hasn't gotten in over his head.
I hope he has, Tom. The race is being run underwater.
the starter for this race is that good sport and skin diver of yesteryear, Floyd Britches.
On your mark, get set.
Oh, Lucky Poole got a tremendous head start. The starter's gun appears to have missed fire.
Funny, I always use a water pistol. See?
Lucky Poole's scuba tube depth bomber has a commanding lead. But here, coming up fast on the underside, is Tom Slick and the Thunderbolt Grease Slapper.
Yay!
Lucky, Tom Slick just passed us. We're in last place.
Correction, Brenda. We're in second place.
But there's only 2 subs in the race.
Ergo, we are in second place. I'd better rub my rabbit's foot.
That wasn't an ordinary rabbit's foot, but a cleverly designed electronic device which sent a signal far ahead to the mysterious underwater city of Drown Town. Drown Town was a modern metropolis under the waves and the hideout of Lucky Pool's underwater accomplices, Sonia Nar and her Aquanuts.
Look, my little Aquanuts. There's Lucky's signal.
Yes, Miss Nar.
Time to fix another submarine race.
Yes, Miss Nar.
Activate the sub-snapper.
Yes, Miss Nar.
And as Tom Slick roared on, a menacing shape emerged from a gloomy grotto and began to pursue him.
That's a mighty fishy-looking fish, if you ask me, Marigold.
All right, I won't ask you. Look out, Tom.
But the mechanical monster was no match for the blinding speed of the Thunderbolt Grease Slapper.
We will have to slow him down a little. Get the super squid.
Yes, Miss Nar.
When you see Tom Slick, launch a frisbee freeze munchy missile at him.
Yes, Miss Nar.
It looks as if Tom is a sure winner, Gertie.
There's no such word as sure winner in sub racing, honey.
Why?
'Cause sure winner is 2 words.
That looks strangely like Sonia Nar's super squid. Uh-oh, a frisbee freeze munchy missile. And a 2 scooper at that.
But at the last instant, Tom swerved the Thunderbolt Grease Slapper with superb skill.
You missed.
Yes, Miss Nar.
You have just one more chance.
Yes, Miss Nar.
I want you to use the Super Sudsy Bomb.
The Super Sudsy Bomb?
And it better work.
It always works.
Oh, Tom is in trouble with all of those suds.
If you ask me, I'd say he was all washed up.
All right, I won't ask you.
It's no soap. I can't control the Thunderbolt.
Oh, Lucky, we're in first place and Tom Slick is second.
No, Brenda. He's last.
I've only got one chance to break loose from these bubbles. I've got to crash dive. Here goes. Now to see if I can pull her out of it in time.
Pull out, Tom! Pull out!
She's not answering the rudder controls.
To think that Tom Slick would meet his end in some low dive.
You've won! You've won!
Just lucky, I guess.
Then, at the last second,
Yay! The winner and no champagne, Tom Slick.
Yay!
Oh, Lucky, we lost. What will I ever tell my friends?
Tell him we came in second.
You've been naughty Aquanuts.
Yes, Miss Nar.
To punish you, I am going to wash your mouths out
Yes, Miss Nar.
with a Super Sudsy Bomb.
Oh, no, Miss Nar.
But, Tom, how did you pull out of that dive?
I remembered the Thunderbolt Grease Slapper is really a car.
So?
I just put it in reverse.
Come on, Tom, get out of them suds and bubbles. Go, Tom boy, go.
Gertie, that's not television you're watching.
Huh?
If you asked me, I'd say you were staring at the washing machine.
All right, hon, I won't ask you.
When you find yourself in danger, when you're threatened by a stranger, when it looks like you will take a licking, there is someone waiting who will hurry up and rescue you. Just call for Super Chicken. Fred, if you're afraid, you'll have to overlook it. Besides, you knew the job was dangerous when you took it. He will drink his super sauce and throw the bad guys for a loss, and he will bring them in alive and kicking. There is one thing you should learn when there is no one else to turn to. Call for Super Chicken. Call for Super Chicken.
Our story opens aboard Receding Airlines Flight 17 from Dodge City to Denver.
All right, everybody, reach. This here's a stick-up.
Arthur, dear, the movie's on.
Movie?
Another Western?
I ain't no movie, mister.
Then you are the ugliest stewardess I ever saw. And almost the meanest.
Now put all your valuables in this here hat.
The plane robber passed along the aisle collecting money, watches, rings, and after-dinner mints. And when he was through...
Now keep them seatbelts fastened till I'm gone, you hear me? Geronimo!
The masked man. He's going away and we didn't even get his name.
Do you suppose it was you-know-who?
No, it weren't. Hiccup's the name. Wild Ralph Hiccup.
The daring bandit had planned his getaway jump with pinpoint accuracy.
I think you ought to know, hoss. I don't take kindly to that.
On flight after flight, Wild Ralph Hiccup struck again.
Sit still or I'm gonna shoot somebody. Maybe me. Geronimo! One of these days, hoss, you and me's gonna have a little talk.
News of the robberies finally reached Miami, vacation playground of Henry Cabot Henhouse III, better known as Super Chicken.
Look at this, Super Chicken.
Please, Fred, when I'm not on the sauce, call me
Henry.
Mr. Henhouse.
Mr. Henhouse? Boy, you sure know how to hurt a guy.
You knew the job was dangerous when you took it, Fred. Wild Ralph Hiccup is robbing planes again. This looks like a job for...
Mr. Henhouse.
Fred.
Oh, all right. For Super Chicken.
Right. You get the sand pail and the rubber ducky, and I'll change in the cabana.
Here's the super sauce. What's the matter?
Got sand in it, Fred, and...
The super sauce took effect, and the mild-mannered fowl was changed into Super Chicken.
Come on, Fred. We've got to catch a plane.
Roger Wilcox.
Disguised as Super Chicken and Fred, Super Chicken and Fred flew back and forth from Miami to Cedar Rapids for 4 straight days.
And I've got enough tickets for 26 more trips, too.
How come we're clear back in the economy section, Super Chicken?
Just be glad we have seats, Fred.
How come?
Did you ever try to book space for a chicken and a lion?
Then at that moment...
All right, folksies. Just put your valuables in the hat.
I wonder why.
Probably for safekeeping, Fred. They can't be too careful with all those robberies going on.
Now, don't nobody follow me or I'm gonna shoot. Or my name ain't Wild Ralph Hiccup.
Wild Ralph Hiccup? We've been robbed.
Don't make a scene, Fred. Things are embarrassing enough. After him! Better give up, Ralph. We've got you cornered.
Super Chicken. You'll never get me.
Stop that. Somebody could get hurt.
Which reminds me, how do we keep from getting hurt when we hit the ground?
Well, I used my super brain, Fred.
Yes?
I brought a parachute.
Just one? You knew
the job was dangerous when you took it.
I know. I thought you were going to speak to him about that. He's getting away.
No, he's not. Get on my back, Fred. There's not a horse alive that can outrun Super Chicken.
Whoa, now, easy, big fella. Well, what are you waiting for?
You're supposed to say giddy up.
Sorry, giddy up.
And the mighty chicken streaked across the plains.
Hi-yo, chicken! Away!
We can corner him on the cliff.
Sure enough, Wild Ralph Hiccup was trapped at the edge of Breakneck Cliff.
Super Chicken, why didn't you stop?
You didn't say whoa.
All right. Whoa, whoa.
It's a little late now, Fred.
Quickly picking up the trail again, Super Chicken tracked Wild Ralph Hiccup to the little western town of Soapwater.
The chicken says he'll meet you in the street at high noon.
Well, then he's a goner because I'm the fastest gun in the West.
No kidding.
I'll show you. Just keep your eye on this coin.
Ooh!
Let that be a lesson to you. Never trust a man who throws money around.
It was now high noon, and the fastest gun in the West went out to meet the fastest chicken in Pittsburgh. Tension filled the air like peanut brittle. Then Wild Ralph made his play.
I'll tell you what. I'll flip a coin to see who draws first.
No, let me flip Fred instead.
And while the amazed bandit watched Fred flip, Super Chicken drew back his super fist.
Head! I win!
Wild Ralph was knocked across the street and into a handy jail cell.
But Super Chicken, I didn't even see you hit him.
That was my super punch, Fred. It travels too fast for the eye to follow. Took you by surprise, didn't it, Ralph?
Surprise? You could have knocked me down with a feather.
I did.
And now we go home, right, Cassius? Super Chicken?
No, Fred. I still have 26 more tickets from Miami to Cedar Rapids. We can't let them go to waste.
Oh, boy.
Once again, the nation's airways have been made safe for democracy. So when you hear that cry in the sky, you'll know Super Chicken has 3 more trips to go.
George of the jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle lives a life that's free. Watch out for that tree. When he gets in the scrape, he makes his escape with the help of his friend, an 8-day date. Then away he'll schlep on his elephant ship, while Fella and Ursula stay in step. With George of the jungle, friend to you and me. Watch out for that tree. Watch out for that tree. George of the jungle,